there's a reason for it. And so they were talking about this Facebook whistleblower, Frances Haugen.
Yeah.
She calls on Congress to regulate the social media giant. This is what she had to say, basically.
My name is Frances Haugen. I used to work at Facebook.
Ooh.
I joined Facebook because I think Facebook has the potential to bring out the best in us.
Is that right?
But I'm here today because I believe Facebook's products harm children, stoke division, and weaken our democracy. The company's leadership knows how to make Facebook and Instagram safer, but won't make the necessary changes because they have put their astronomical profits before people. Congressional action is needed. They won't solve this crisis without your help. Yesterday, we saw Facebook get taken off the internet. I don't know why it went down, but I know that for more than 5 hours, Facebook wasn't used to deepen divides, destabilize democracies, and make young girls and women feel bad about their bodies. It also means that millions of small businesses weren't able to reach potential customers, and countless photos of new babies weren't joyously celebrated by family and friends around the world.
Wow.
I believe in the potential of Facebook. We can have social media we enjoy that connects us without tearing apart our democracy, putting our children in danger, and sowing ethnic violence around the world. We can do better. I have worked as a product manager at large tech companies since 2006, including Google, Pinterest, Yelp, and Facebook. My job has largely focused on algorithmic products like Google Plus Search and recommendation systems like the one that powers the Facebook newsfeed. Having worked on 4 different types of social networks, I understand how complex and nuanced these problems are. However, the choices being made inside of Facebook are disastrous for our children, for our public safety, for our privacy, and for our democracy. And that is why we must demand Facebook make changes. During my time at Facebook, first working as the lead product manager for civic misinformation, and later on counter-espionage, I saw Facebook repeatedly encounter conflicts between its own profits and our safety. Facebook consistently resolved these conflicts in favor of its own profits. The result has been more division, more harm, more lies, more threats, and more combat. In some cases, this dangerous online talk has led to actual violence that harms and even kills people. This inability to see into Facebook's actual system and confirm that they work as communicated is like the Department of Transportation regulating cars by only watching them drive down the highway. Today, no regulator has a menu of solutions for how to fix Facebook because Facebook didn't want them to know enough about what's causing the problems. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been need for a whistleblower.
Now, like I said, usually, a story like this, I usually would ignore it, but the media just made sure this story was everywhere. And I realized that this woman was imploring Facebook and the government and the politicians involved in this hearing to censor us, to basically, like, when we do stuff like what we just covered, what Project Veritas posted when they went undercover and exposed what those Pfizer scientists did. Now, like I said, I agree. Project Veritas oftentimes engages in some real screwy stuff that I don't agree with. That's why I do my research and do my diligence about the stuff they put out. But when they put out factual stuff, it still gets taken down by Twitter. They still get their accounts banned by Facebook. We've seen Louis Farrakhan, Minister Farrakhan, Alex Jones. We've seen lots of different people. Now censorship has become a weapon to use against anybody that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're on the left, if you're on the right, if you're in the center, if you don't support either party like me or like I do, like if you just have an issue with the establishment in any way, these people want to censor, and they're using this woman particularly right here as an excuse. So I wanted to ask you specifically, Reb, because we talked about this. I think it was last week when we talked about R. Kelly. Was it last week? Was it the week before? Yeah,
last week.
About Facebook and social media specifically, and I was asking you, like, how can you tell who to leave your kids around, right? And the same thing, I wanted to ask that same question about Facebook. specifically, because that's why reason why I want to bring this up. How, like, do you allow your kids to get on Facebook, and is there an age that you would allow them to be on it, and how much time, and like, have you thought about this yet? Like, has it become an issue? Like, oh, I can't let my kids on Facebook or what?
Well, I mean, the girls are young,
Yeah.
and from what I understand, teenagers aren't really that much into Facebook. Facebook is for the old people now.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So we can jump on Facebook all day long. That's not really the platform where the kids are going to and where the kids are getting bad information, where the kids are getting depressed. It's, from what I understand, it's things like Snapchat and
Yeah.
TikTok now.
Yeah.
And
They're
5
censoring
years
that
now,
too.
yeah, 5 years now it'll be something else. I'm like you with this woman being pushed so hard. And I read somewhere someone said that Mark Zuckerberg could survive anything that Congress were to do.
Right.
But anybody that's trying to launch a competitor to him could be devastated.
Right.
And I can remember. You remember when? What was it? MySpace.
Oh yeah.
Way back in the day.
I had a MySpace.
Okay, and then we got Black Planet.
I remember everybody on
part of the reason we had Black Planet was we wanted something, that black folk could go to that would let you do what MySpace does, but it was just for us.
Right.
So then that, from what I understand, that went down some rabbit hole. But the reality is there are people out there who could make other alternatives to Facebook. Now, maybe Facebook has made itself so big and so ubiquitous that the people that might consider doing something else get intimidated. But that same line of thinking, if the government were to really step in, to quote unquote regulate Facebook, Facebook could probably survive that.
Yeah.
But it's those other places that could be strangled. Now, having said that, I am not a huge fan of Facebook. I'm not an enemy of it. Our churches put sermons on there. Our school has a page. It's to me, it's sort of like it's an easy way to gain access to video media, to be able to put your video media out there. It's a poor man's what it was like a poor man's lobster tail.
Right.
You take some codfish and you bake it in some butter, and if you close your eyes and try real hard, you'll almost believe you're eating lobster tail. Well, Facebook allows people that don't have money to build a real nice website and have their own, video streaming and everything. Well, Facebook allows you to do that on the cheap.
Right.
And so that's why so many people like it. But, you can't not think that as much influence as a company like Facebook has, that they would allow this to be covered unless there was some advantage to them.
Yep.
Even the idea of her being able to quote unquote be a whistleblower, there's got to be some advantage to them in her doing this, or else you wouldn't hear about her.
I absolutely agree, and like I said, the advantage is they want to censor people, and unfortunately, we become a culture. When I was a kid growing up, it used to be the right wing. The right wingers used to be like, "Oh my God, Madonna kissed the black Jesus." You know what I mean? It used to be, "Oh my God, Ozzy Osbourne bit the head off a bat," or Marilyn Manson did something crazy, and or the video games. I remember they used to go to the video games. They went after Hugh Hefner and those guys for a long time, and the porn people, like the right wingers, were constantly trying to censor people, and it was always liberals. No man, this is America. This is free speech, man. What are you doing? And now it's the Democrats, it's liberals who can't wait to censor anybody who does not agree. Like Dave Chappelle, probably my favorite comedian right now, just put out a comedy special a few days ago, and he talks about transgenders. And I haven't watched it, but yet hopefully I'll watch it soon. Be able to watch it soon. But he says he talks about transgenders quite a bit in his uh, in his stand-up special. Mostly not saying I hate transgenders or anything, but mostly that they have become sort of the new protected class. You know, he is. You know, they're basically the new N-words.
Yeah.
The way that the media treats them. The way that the media acts like there's some sort of protected class that you can't do anything, say anything about, or they'll call you a bigot and they'll cancel you. And immediately after he talked about this, oh my God, Dave Chappelle, you know, he has to be canceled. We have to shut him up. That's what happened. I mean, that's liberals now. Liberals are the ones who are going to take your record off of the radio. They're the ones who, you know, we talked about R. Kelly last week. They're the ones who want to ban R. Kelly's records. Like I said, the music didn't molest anybody, so I'm going to keep listening to it. You know, when records start molesting people, then I will stop listening to them. But they're the ones who want to tell us what we can listen to, what we can say on the internet. You know, everything is misinformation if it runs counter to their worldview. And you know, I really fear. Hold on, caller. I really fear that in the future, you know, whenever that pendulum swings back and it's the right wing again, and they have all this power that liberals endowed them with by turning into the cancel culture people.
Right.
Let me get this call. Hello, caller.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
One thing y'all gotta understand about Dave Chappelle, he don't care.
Yep.
Dave Chappelle walked away from a $50 million contract.
He did.
Because he didn't want to wear a dress. And at that time, his father was sick in the hospital. And they told Dave Chappelle, hey, we don't care. You need to do this. Dave Chappelle told him, y'all can have it. I don't care. The man walked away from $50 million.
Yes, he did.
So Catherine Dave Chappelle is going to do what? He ain't going to care. As soon as Dave Chappelle said, hey, I'm ready to come back, it was a bidding war.
Yeah.
The network was bidding. Dave, please just come here. Please come here. Please just come here. So, they don't care. But my thing is this. You can drop the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
You can drop the H-word.
Mm-hmm.
You can call women bees. Everything in comedy.
Yeah.
But I can't say nothing about them.
Right.
Not that I have any particular interest in having a major conversation about that. Anywho, but it's amazing that, you know, somebody who, by and large, you know, unless you walking down the middle of the street looking like you lost your mind, no one is gonna know what you do at home.
Yeah.
That's true. And it's just like I was watching, do y'all know, have y'all ever listened to the pastor Dino Jenkins?
I haven't heard him.
This is one of them pastors that he's a book pastor. Don't come to him with all this other stuff that you just made up or you thought of. And he loves to go against people when they want to change the Bible. He's had things where he has had debates with Muslims, Buddhists, even other Christians. And you probably want to look up. His name is Dino Jenkins.
Okay.
And he even had a lot of women there where people talking about how these women, they will put on lipstick, makeup, and everything, and call themselves Christians. But God don't make nothing wrong, so why you change it what he made? And a lot of women do that way because they say, well, you come to the church, dress like you just left the club. And he said how he don't allow it in the church. Well, he had a debate with a guy, a gay pastor. And this pastor had to make everything right for him. So they were going through scriptures in the book and everything. And he asked the pastor, he said, did God make woman for man, or did he make man for man? And the pastor was like, well, at that time, it was that. So he asked the pastor, has the Bible changed since that time? But the Bible, this pastor just kept trying to make us seem to try to justify him being attacked. And y'all really should listen to the dude because he's one of those. I don't know if y'all remember in Chicago, there was a pastor who had a guy who was a member of the church, but then all of a sudden the guy decided to come out the closet. Pastor had no problem with it, but then the guy decided he wanted to come to church just as a woman.
Oh.
And he told him, no, you can't come to my church just as a woman. And you had everybody mad at him, the LGBT. Oh, you know, boycott the church, boycott the church. But the members of the church was behind the pastor, and other churches that were behind the pastor and everything. Because one guy, because the pastor, but somebody said, well, the Bible said, come as you are. It said, yes, come as you are, but if you're not willing to make a change, why are you coming? He said, yes, the Bible says, come as you are. Because one lady said, well, what if somebody comes to the church and they say last set of clothes? He said, if you say last set of clothes when they come to the church, believe me, the next time they come, I'll be them bought some clothes. So you have no reason to come back with your pants hanging down, or a woman with tight clothes on, or a man that's dressed like a woman.
All right.
But this thing, man, it seems like they want to strong arm everybody. What you do in your bedroom is your business. Because they even got some of these schools that want to teach about transgenders and all this.
Oh, yeah.
Start even teaching our black kids about this.
Exactly.
But you want to teach more kids about are you born a man or woman? Come on, how this class thing. Have you ever think that they don't?
I cannot say that I have.
I think that they're lying.
In fact, I don't even know that animals have the capacity to make that kind of decision.
Right.
Thank you. Like a lot of people in some, I know people probably don't get mad with me. But I'm talking to the people I know that's in that world, it was a choice they made. Because I don't think God made you a man. And then all of a sudden, overnight, you just decided to be a woman. Because I say, God don't make no mistakes. If He made you a man, you are a man. Don't come to me with all that, I got homosexual, I got female children. Nah, you choose to have female children. Whoever get mad with me, that's on you. But I say God don't make no mistakes. He make a man, a woman, and nowhere in the Bible that speaks about man laying with man, woman laying with woman.
All right.
We go all the way back to the beginning. In the beginning, He made woman for man. It was Adam and Eve.
Well, I know this much. I know you cannot have any children.
No offspring.
You know.
And they got into an argument about that, about these hospitals nowadays, and what they call it, cloning babies.
Right.
I say that's totally against God because God didn't make babies. God didn't make humans to be cloned. He didn't make dogs to be cloned. He didn't make nothing to be cloned. If it was made to be born, it'd be born. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Well, thank you for your call, sir. I mean, look, for me, I'm pro letting adults be adults in a free country. This is America. Obviously, I have my own personal beliefs, my own personal values. But the one thing that I used to like about being a liberal when I was a liberal was that was our mentality, was live and let live. If you want to live your life and you're not bothering me, that's up to you. Right. The issue I have is that has changed to either parrot my speech and completely toe the company line, or I will make sure that you can't have a job. It's just like we talked about the vaccine mandates in the last segment. We'll make sure you can't have a job. We'll make sure that you can't go somewhere to eat. We'll make sure you can't do this, that. You will not be able to participate in society unless you completely toe the line that we want you to toe. And that is not liberal at all. That's very illiberal, okay? And so, but it has become encouraged to essentially kick people out of society. So whether you believe that being gay is a choice or it's not, whether you believe in the transgender stuff or you don't, that's your opinion. That's ultimately, it's your opinion. The only issue I have is when people act like, essentially pretend that they are the same, dealing with the same issue that black people are dealing with. Okay, we're dealing with 400-year war against our people, a class war against our people from slavery and colonialism and Jim Crow, the prison industrial complex. The American government, and not just the American government, many other governments have all conspired to keep black people at the bottom of the economic, political, and social ladder for many years, living in substandard conditions. Filling prisons. Our laws are targeted at the black community. Our law enforcement is targeted at black communities. That is not the same. That is not the same thing that transgenders or gay people are dealing with. Okay, they are people who may have some issues and they may face discrimination from those issues. But that's not a war against your people. And the way that it is covered by the press and the way that we have to live our lives and hold our tongues is as if they are an oppressed group of people in the same way that black people are. And they're just not.
Yeah, I can't see it. But
That's what I'm saying. Okay, folks, it is 7:23. Wow, it's 7:23, and we have some commercials. We got to pay some bills. Please give us a call, 219-885-1371. And if you didn't hear me the first time,
try it again.
you are listening to Scott and the Rev on WLTH 1370 AM. Give us a call, 219-885-1371.